emergency department patients before being admitted undergo a COVID-19 testing. That allows us to know right offhand who has the COVID-19, and this is the rapid test we do for these patients. Nowadays, because we're doing elective surgeries, we do the 72-hour test, which is more reliable. But nevertheless, as if we have to do an emergency operation, it's a rapid COVID-19 test. Supply chain has been phenomenal in maintaining our PPEs throughout the institution. We've also done things like eliminate a lot of observers in the operating rooms that would take up PPEs, and that's been to the detriment, I think, of the medical student education, because they haven't been able to scrub in some of these cases. But nevertheless, we've been good stewards of our PPEs. We screen everybody that comes into any facility with temperature checks. Environmental services, we've upgraded our cleaning capacities and our cleaning protocols. I'll show you some of the visitor restriction policies, because one of the things we wanted to eliminate having the place full of visitors. And so we had very strict initial visitor restrictions. And we cohorted anybody who was positive for COVID, we cohorted to specific units. And these units were then designed so that we could control the airflow, and there would be a negative airflow environment, so that the air would be sucked in and not a positive pressure as you would have, for example, in an operating room where the air goes out. So it's a very specific units where all these patients were cohorted. The social distancing, we had signs everywhere that maintain the 6-foot distance. Everybody wears a mask in our facilities. We encourage the washing hands, and we have constant checks to make sure that we're all following the protocols of hand washing. We'll talk a little bit more about the telehealth and telemedicine aspect of it. Okay, next slide, please. And then we have reminders throughout the facilities on how to best protect yourselves. And again, these are some of the CDC guidelines, and I think that it's good for all of us to remember all of these travel guidelines. We've all seriously limited our travels, and even the Cleveland Clinic has taken a policy that we're not going to any international or other national meetings this year. Not that I see any on the schedule. Frequent hand washing, avoid touching the face, cover your mouth and nose, stay home if you're feeling sick, constant cleaning and disinfecting, avoid contact with the sick. All these are ways that we can all protect ourselves as we go through this COVID situation. Next slide, please. Now I want to focus more on specific things we've done for our community. Next slide, please. We created a very robust website that provides the latest updates on COVID. And a lot of information, safety measures, and it's I think a very good source for information. So this is available. You see here the website. You'll have access to it, and I think it's a good way to get some information about this this rapidly evolving situation. Next slide, please. Drive-through testing. We were the first to open in Broward County drive-through testing, and we've now opened in several facilities throughout the enterprise, and we've tested thousands and thousands of patients for COVID-19. And as we know, as we hear in the national news, this is going to be one of the most important aspects to get control, is to understand the prevalence throughout the population, is to do more testing. Next slide, please. We've used traditional media outlets to get the information out. You see here the use of television and the use of the print media to get words out about the studies, some of the clinical trials that we have underway in our facility right now. We have studies using the use of some medications, and the use of how to deal with patients with COVID that come in with heart attacks. I mean, it's very specific conditions. some of the difficult recovery processes for patients that have been on ventilators, as well as some of the safety measures. Next slide, please. We've also have a robust social media platform where we provide patient testimonials, guidelines, information. So that I think this is proven to be a very valuable and powerful way to get the information across. Next slide, please. One of the consequences of this has been a fear of blood donation, and there's been a blood shortage throughout. And so we have now monthly blood drives. We have the big red bus comes to the Coral Springs facility. It comes to the Weston facility, as you see it here in this picture. But it's a way for us to again promote blood donation, and I think that. And I think just a little funny anecdote. My wife donated blood last week, and she decided she wanted to go bicycle riding, and of course felt faint, and had to lay down, and they even called some passerby called 911. So crazy stuff. But it's an important thing that we keep in mind, that blood donation must continue because there is a shortage of blood. Next slide, please. One of the interesting aspects that come of this is the increased use of telemedicine, telehealth, and virtual visits.
AT&T is committed to keeping you connected.
It's a way to provide convenience to the patients. And I think that at first I hadn't had very little experience with it, but now I have a lot more experience with it. And I think it's here to stay. And I think for certain patients, it's a wonderful platform to really see your physician and get information. And obviously, if something needs to be done physically, then you need to come in. But I think that this is is here to stay, and we're going to be seeing more of it. And you can certainly in our facility, you can set up a telehealth visit and meet and discuss whatever situation you have with your physician. Next slide, please. Another important aspect is and I'm sitting in on these meetings, is opening up the workplace, opening up the back the workforce, and can you do it safely? And the Cleveland Clinic put together a task force to do this, and they call it Cleveland Clinic at Work. And Jim Merlino in Ohio has been spearheading this effort, and it's become a wonderful resource for our industry friends to get information about reopening, how can you do it safely. And if you go to the next slide, you can see that we've set up specific guides for the following industries: healthcare providers, hotels, educators, manufacturing, retail, and restaurants. And this is all at the clevelandclinic.org/COVID-19 at work. And so you can use this as a great resource for reopening safely. And a lot of industries look to the health industry for advice. And I think that was the idea for the concept to develop this platform of Cleveland Clinic COVID-19 at work. So, and I put this up here, and I think that if you're looking to reopen your business, this is could be useful as a very good resource for you. Next one, please. We talked about visitation guidelines, and I think this is a way to control the number of people in your facility. And for this has evolved over the last 2 months. Initially, it was very strict, but now we recognize that there are patients with specific circumstances, specific needs, and we're always allowing the pediatric patients to come accompanied, those that have really high need for assistance. And now, we've now, if you're having surgery, you can. It's an overnight stay. You come in the day of the patient and the day after. Again, it's a way to control the number of people that are in your facility. Next slide. And finally, I think that it's important that we remember that we can't ignore our health through this time. And too many patients we've seen have been ignoring their health. They've been increasing the number of MIs that are occurring outside the facilities. And so I think I'm here to give the message that it's safe to come back to the physician. We have all the things that I discussed, all the steps that we've taken to create a safe environment. And I think that it's important to know that if you have a medical condition that needs attention, if you have an emergency situation that needs attention, it's safe to go back to the physician and go back to the hospital and be taken care of. Next slide, please. So in summary, I think that and our top priority has always been safety for our patients, safety for our caregivers. And I think I like to sign that together, we can do this. We'll get through this. We had the one initial surge, but you see we've had an increase in the number of cases in Florida. So this is here to stay for a while. I don't know how long it's going to stay here for, but it's here to stay for a while. So as long as it's here, let's do it. Let's take care of ourselves safely and create safe environments. I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
And okay, I don't see any questions. Thanks again, Dr. Nogueras. Great information. And I'm sure everybody's going to download that back to work. clevelandclinic.org/COVID-19 at work.
Thank you.
If anybody needed that.